everyone, this is Robert Rad, and I'm going to start a new YouTube show, at least for the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be called Robert's Wrestling Talk. Now, for this episode, I am going to do the 200th episode of NXT. Now, this, like I said, this was this week's episode of NXT that aired on Hulu and on TV was their 200th episode. So I'm going to kind of do a recap. Now, I'm going to try to post a video for Raw and TLC from this past Sunday and Monday, respectively, and also after Impact, I'm going to try to do one tomorrow for Impact. Now, I'm going to start off. This was not a bad show whatsoever, not a bad moment. Now, the show kicks off with Triple H coming out and talking about NXT, this being the 200th thing. And they started Triple H chant, but he said, I want you guys to chant where we're at. And he goes, where are we at? And they go, NXT. So they do the typical NXT chant. He talks about the Performance Center being right down the road, the future, and he talks about stars that have been called up. And the crowd specifically starts in the 5, 5, 5, 5 chant and signifying Big E. So he talks about Big E. He mentions them. Then to end his segment, he does the classic DX stick of, there's only one question to ask. Are you ready? And he gets the crowd hyped up for the first match. Now, the first match was a tag match between Sami Zayn and Kid, were partners, and they fought Antonio Cesaro and Leo Kruger. Now, this match ended with Tyson Kidd and Sami Zayn getting the win, with Sami Zayn kicking and Leo Kruger, I believe, to get the pin. The next segment was between Emma and Natalie backstage, or Natalia. And it was talking about how Emma was trying to call out Natty for, she's a big star now, that she does Total Divas and she really doesn't have time for NXT and all this. And Emma is called out on her dancing for a little dancing thing. And a challenge is made, which it didn't air on this episode, so in a coming episode, Natalia is going to fight Emma, and Emma's the #1 contendership, so I'm not for sure if this is going to be for the #1 contendership or not, but they do have a match coming up. Then, after their segment, they had a flashback, which was episode #1, talking about the first episode of NXT, meaning the Nexus episode of their season, and it talked about Daniel Bryan fighting Chris Jericho in the main event of NXT Season 1. So that was a good flashback. And they do this all throughout the show, which I'm going to mention that when I get to it. Now, the next one, since we were talking about the Divas, Sasha Banks fought Paige, non-title match, and this ended with Paige winning with the Paige Turner. Now, there was interference, obviously, from Summer Rae, and Sasha Banks dominated most of this match. And the match was okay, not match of the year quality. It was a decent match. Maybe one that you want to take a break on, but not bad. Then the next segment was between Enzo Amore, and he had Colin with him, and Aiden English. And now Enzo was in a wheelchair, electric wheelchair type thing, and they heard singing, so they go over and they talk about Aiden English, and then they have kind of their thing, and this kind of set up a match between Aiden English and Colin, I do believe. When we come back from commercial break, we get another flashback, and it has like Bo Dallas and Tyson Kidd, just different stuff. Then we get the Ascension Open Challenge. Now, I was stoked about this because I've been waiting for this moment for a little while. Their Open Challenge was answered by the American Wolves, which they called them the American Pit Bulls. And this is the one thing that yerks me about the WWE. Why can't you call them the American Wolves, Eddie Edwards and Dave Richards? But I'm sure it's, of course, due to copyright issue, and WWE wants to own the copyright. Then after that, we get a Kofi interview with Devin Taylor, my bad. And Lana comes up and speaks Russian to Kofi. He's like, basically in a nice, polite way, he's like, I didn't understand the word you said, so she says in English. Basically, Alexander Rusev wants to beat Kofi. Well, Kofi says, I don't back down from a challenge. And so we're going to have a match between those two on episode 201. Then we get to our main event, which was Bo Dallas versus Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship, and it was a lumberjack match, so that Bo Dallas could not run away or anything, which he hasn't been running away, but he has been trying to cheat and trying to escape his way out. Now, before the finish of this match, we get another NXT moment, and it was the crowning of Rollins, Seth Rollins, you know him from The Shield, winning the NXT Championship. And to finish a lumberjack match, Dallas retains the title very luckily. Now, during the match, you have Neville slaps Tyler Breeze, and that comes back to haunt him because he goes for the red arrow to pull off on Dallas. When he's about to hit it, Breeze pulls Bo Dallas out of the way, allowing Dallas to pick up the win and retain the championship. Now, something I did like about this is they had Howard Finkel doing the announcing, so they kind of brought back some old school wrestling. Now, that was kind of my recap of NXT. Like I said, not really a bad show, not really a bad segment. Stay tuned to my channel. You can check my channel out at youtube.com/user/TheRobertRad. And I have a podcast that's called The Power of Pro Wrestling. If you want to check it out, I'll try to put a link in the description as well. I'm working on getting a site for it. But I do want to thank you guys for joining me, and I'll catch you later.